Hello and welcome. Welcome. I feel like it's been a little while since my last message to you all, but I am so excited to share today's encouragement with you because I've received several confirmations. I keep coming across this verse and I know it's going to encourage those of you who it's intended for. So if you've been in prayer in any specific area of your life, or maybe God has been showing you visions, or you have just been believing and having faith in specific areas and it seems like it hasn't come yet, or if you're questioning, maybe you heard God wrong or anything like that, that I know we can question when it seems like there's a delay, this message is for you. So if you want to read along with me, I'm reading from Habakkuk chapter 2. But I would encourage you, as I always do, read all of this for yourself. Have that quiet time. Seek God for yourself so you really can unpack and understand the words that He's speaking to us and how He's revealing Himself to us in this season and in this time. But I'm not going to get prematurely preachy. But today's message, I believe, is going to be so encouraging for those of you who need to hear it. So you can go ahead and grab Habakkuk 2, and I'll be right back to jump into today's message. All right, so let's jump in. So it says, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the watchtower. I will keep watch to see what he will say to me and what I will answer when I'm reproved. The just shall live by faith. And that's just a title in my Bible. But and the Lord answered me, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he who reads it may run. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but it speaks of the end and does not lie. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. There are several warnings in the book of Habakkuk. There are things that God is revealing to them in that time. And that's why I think it's important that we get to know God for ourselves and know what He's speaking to us. But what keeps standing out to me is it will surely come. And when God is giving you a heads up, warning, insight, even just like an unction in your spirit to know that things are coming to pass, or this is your season for certain things, trust it, trust it, trust it. I'm telling you right now, I have been experiencing this firsthand. Many of the messages that I put out, even since the start of this year, I'm seeing these things take place. I'm seeing them happen now. Not just in my life, but in the lives of those all around me. And so many of you who have been connected with me here on whatever platform you're watching, many of you who have been seeing these messages come out, if you have felt like you've been in a place of delay, I'm telling you that your obedience is crucial in this season. And when I say your obedience is crucial, I'm not saying it in the sense that we can work our way to God's grace. God freely gives us His grace. I'm not one of those, or this is not a space where we act like we're perfect. I see this so much, and shout out to all the perfect people out there. I'm not one of them, where the guideline is like, step one, be perfect, never sin. Step two, once you're very perfect, God's going to bring those things through you. I don't believe that. I believe that we should strive to be more like Christ every single day. I believe that we should seek God to get into that position, to be in that place where He can pour out. But God reigns on the just and the unjust. So I want to make that clear distinction, because I believe that's also a place where we can get stuck in our minds believing that if we make one mistake or if we're not perfect, then God can't bless us. And that's simply not true. And I even believe that the blessings that God has for us is truly just to line us up with His purpose for our time here on this earth, for us to walk in His will. And I'm reminded of the verse, let your light so shine before men that they will see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. When we think about that, our light shining is not something that should come from us being perfect and it's for us to just, be perfect and get all these blessings. It's truly to be a walking testimony of God's goodness, to be a walking testimony of God's grace, God's mercy. So the way that comes into today's message of understanding and trusting that it will surely come is back to that place, being in that position of obedience. There are things that God has revealed to many of us as we've been prepared. I've talked about the year of establishment, and as we're getting prepared in these seasons where God has revealed certain marching orders for you. And maybe in your quiet time or through your fasting or just in your prayer, God's revealing certain things that you need to do to line up with what He's bringing to you. And I'll think of some examples too of that. But specifically, I know that there are areas in my life where I know God was speaking. I've shared several times about making room, your gift making room, clearing out space. And some of these things are time sensitive for us. Like when God is showing you this, it's because it will surely come. The thing that you've been waiting on, the thing that you have been praying about, it's coming. And it's important for us to, whatever that make room looks like, to make room for it as if we knew it was coming. And there's a different posture that we have when we're expecting something. Like when we're expecting something beyond a shadow of a doubt, I often share the example of a baby. Many people, we are familiar with the idea of nesting. And when you know the baby's coming, you start preparing the room and going shopping, and we have baby showers, and we do all of these things in preparation for that which we expect. So if you truly knew that God was bringing to you the things that you have been praying for, the position that you have believed that God is showing you in position, I mean anything, whether your status is going to change in your relationships or on your job or in ministry or wherever God is showing you that your elevation is happening or establishment is happening or there's any type of transition, it's so important that we're obedient and that we make room for those things, because too often we pray for things or we say that we're expecting things, but we're not truly lining up with that expectation. So again, just like the baby example, when we know that baby is on the way, we're doing everything that we can to prepare for that smooth transition. And I'm telling you all right now, it will surely come. Pray, seek God for yourself to know what that thing is, but it will surely come. And we see this time and time again. I think about the story that stands out to me a lot is that of Isaac and Rebecca. I keep seeing that. Like, I just think, like, had Rebecca not been in that place where she was going out to water, where she was able to water the camels of the servant that was sent to find the wife for Isaac, her whole life changed in a matter of moments through just being obedient. Now, I don't know what her morning started out like. I don't know how she prepared for that moment. But I think about so many times where we could be literally just hours away from something that's about to change the trajectory of our lives. And usually what comes in to stop that, I think about also being anxious. Usually, so the first thing that I would encourage you to think about is, how is God speaking to you to be obedient? And secondly, I'm going to get ready to wrap this. I didn't want this message to be too long. But secondly, we want to think about, are you feeling anxious or afraid? Because God reminds us to not have a spirit of fear, nor to be anxious for anything. And so if you're believing that God is bringing something to pass in your life, or that there's a vision that you have and things that you're lining up with to carry out the fullness of your purpose here on earth with the limited time that we have, I believe that our duty is to seek God, knowing that all the things that we have need of, Matthew 6:33, will be added to us. And most importantly, to let our light shine, to be a light in such a dark place. And in order to do that, we can't just grab hold of these thoughts that may come up that have you feeling anxious or fearful. It's not that these thoughts won't come. It's not that things won't come to try to slow you down, but it's important that we are renewing our minds on a daily basis so that we can line up and walk in God's will for our life. And so then when those moments of it will surely come are coming up, if you start to doubt it, just by being in that posture of expectation, being in that posture of preparation, what you're going to find is that by the time it comes, it's going to be seamless. I talk so much about seamless transitions, but I'm walking in it right now. There are things that I know God showed me at the start of the year, just this year alone, that as they started coming, it confirmed why I needed to go ahead and be obedient and have a sense of urgency about God's instructions, because what God is instructing me to do and you to do and someone else and your neighbor down the street and maybe your cousin, your aunt, whoever, is different for all of us. There's no one size fits all experience. And we've seen that even in the way that Jesus healed. He healed so many people in so many different ways. When we look at the different ways that people have inherited the promises of God and walked into it, it's different. So there's no one size fits all. And I say that because whatever God has revealed to you, whether it is to consecrate yourself, whether it's to go and get quiet, whether it's to fast for 3 days, whether it is to start working out or eating better, or I believe we all should be taking care of our bodies. And that's a challenge. I won't even get into that on my walking away or attempting to walk away from how I'm eating, but being just intentional about whatever season God has you in. expect that it will surely come. That's what I just wanted to come on and share with you all today. It will surely come. It may not be in the timing that you expect it, but oftentimes and more often than not, God is waiting on us to line up and be obedient instead of us just simply waiting on God. So if there is something that God's been showing you to do in this season, y'all have heard me say it even when I did the it will happen fast. I keep referencing that video, so go back and watch it if you haven't. It will happen, fast. Do it. Do not delay. Do not allow doubt to come in. And more importantly, when you think about who you're listening to, who you're lining up with, who you're allowing to speak into your life, who you're attaching yourself to, this is a time. It's always a time. But even more importantly, when you're in a place of transition and being established, is so important that you're mindful of who you're attaching yourself with, who you're listening to. And the reason that matters is because if you just listen to any old person, especially anyone that's trying to put you in a box and say how God is going to perform in your life, it will have you walking away from opportunities. I had an event this year. This event already has changed the trajectory of my year. And I think about leading up to that event. If I would have had any and everyone speaking to me, I would have not done the event. I was getting nervous, and how I talked about being anxious, being fearful, but there was so much fruit to be born and birthed out of that event. And had I not executed it, had I not been obedient, had I not lined up with it, it wouldn't have happened. And I just want to encourage many of you in that way, that just because you're seeing hesitation come up, or if there's any fear, pray about it, because God does not give us a spirit of fear. And oftentimes that anxiety or that fear or that hesitation or that procrastination comes up because you are on the brink of breakthrough, because you are lining up with God's will for your life, because you have declared the vision, because you have spoken what you desire to see, because you're delighting yourself in the Lord and He's preparing to give you the desires of your heart. And usually in that moment, that's when those tests come. Those tests come to try to get you to abort the plan, to try to get you to walk away from it, to try to get you to doubt yourself so you become stagnant. But this isn't the time to be stagnant. This is the time to run. And though the vision may tarry, wait for it. It will not delay. And again, read Habakkuk so you can understand that prompting in the context of how it was shared at that time, because again, there were some warnings for them. But I also believe the same way that God has revealed Himself throughout time, throughout our Bible, He's alive and well today and revealing Himself in the same way. So the fact that that is confirmation that any vision, though it may tarry, that does not mean that it's not going to happen. God's timing is so perfect. So that is my encouragement. I'm going to pause here. That's my encouragement for you today, though. If you're not connected with me, I would encourage you to get connected in the Amplify Her Lounge, or you can grab your starter kit. This starter kit is for those of you who are leaders, those of you who desire to lead, those of you who have a vision and a message and you're ready to turn it into a movement. You want to host events. You have a desire to write books, to step on stages, to speak, to show up in this capacity in media and messaging. If that is you, grab your starter kit at increaseyourvoice.com. It is just filled with resources that I wish I would have had when I first started. I'll be doing some live events coming up, so stay connected. We're getting ready for our fall Born to Soar conference. Those details will be dropping shortly, but I just wanted to make sure I came on and share with you all today. So that's it. That's the message. If this encouraged you, tag someone, tell someone. You can stay connected with me across social media at Erica Empowers, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.